I'm Nate, this is my Cervelo S5, and today we're going for a ride. So it's 4th of July weekend, it's record-breaking heat outside, that's why we're stuck in here. This is my Cervelo S5. I just wanted to talk about it briefly because I've been riding it for a little bit over a month now. I just wanted to talk about what I like and what I necessarily don't love, and then how does it compare to my Cervelo Soloist that I rode a lot of miles on. And I also want to talk about the reserve 5764 wheels that it comes with. I bought a Force Access build, which was marked down from my local bike shop, and then I actually haggled a little bit more price off of it, and so I kind of felt like I got a good deal. I took off the Force components on the lower part of the group set, put on my old SRAM Red D1 group set, which includes a 52 chainring and then a SRAM Red D1 derailleur, 170 cranks, and then a 1028 cassette, which is unique amongst the Red cassettes because it has a 16-tooth cog and none of the other ones do. So the first thing I'm going to mention is the cockpit. This isn't such an incredibly comfortable cockpit, and to be able to put your hands on this thing, these like angled parts while you're riding, is so comfortable and it feels so good. And if you're really clever about it, you can tuck your elbows in and kind of get like an aero bar position using these. This actually reminds me of like the ride far bars, if you've ever seen those. The steer tube is not actually there. There's no steer tube if you're not aware. You have just 3 titanium bolts. 2 of them are under this cover and 1 of them's under that cover. And so if you want to add or remove spacers, there's no cutting of a steer tube. You just undo the bolts, add your spacers on, and put the bolts back on. And I think that's really cool and really clever because, you know, if your fit changes or you kind of are interested in resale value, then you're not permanently affixed to a slam stem. The next pro I want to talk about is just the ride quality. I find this to be an extremely comfortable bike, especially being marketed as an aero bike. You would expect it to be stiff and harsh and chattery, but I really don't think that's the case. It really reminds me of my TT bike in a way because it's very stable in a straight line. It just feels very planted and it's just very easy to ride. It doesn't really get gusted by crosswinds for me, although I am a taller, bigger person. But compared to my Soloist, the Soloist had like a front end that I felt like shattered a lot on like busted roads, and I have plenty of busted roads around me. But this thing with the 5764 wheels and 30mm STRs just feels rock solid. I've really enjoyed getting to ride it so far. I had the chance to ride the 5764s on my Soloist before I even got the S5, and I found them to be very comfortably fast in a straight line. They do carry their weight really well because they do weigh almost 1,600 grams, but their advantage is that they puff your tires out. So these 30mm STRs puff out to almost 34mm. So you get all the comfort of like a 34 tire, but with all the weight reduction of not having a 34 tire. So just talking about some things that I haven't loved. The geometry when I first got this bike was really awkward to me. On paper, it has the same stack and reach as a Soloist, which is 590 and 401. Those are like the magic numbers for me in a size 58. What I found was that when I set my seat post to the right height, the stem felt too short and everything felt too short. Like the reach was too short. Even with forced levers, it just seemed very compact. And what I discovered was that these stems, the longer they go, they actually add stack height. And that's in the user manual and everything. But this is a 110 stem and it added a little bit of stack height that I haven't loved. So I had to remove another spacer to get it down. And I could actually probably ride this slammed, and I'll probably try that because, again, no steer tube means I can do whatever I want. But that caught me off guard because for an aero bike, this was very compact to me.
I've never had this on a size 58, but I actually have toe overlap, which is very bizarre, and my shoes are all messed up. I've just never seen that on a size 58. I think it has to do with the head tube angle is a little steeper than the Soloist, but it's not a huge deal. It's just that my shoes are gone.
So my biggest gripe by far with the S5 would be the seat post clamp mechanism, and I've heard this from other people too. But if you notice, it's just a wedge clamp that sits down too deep. And the reason for this is because they have a rubber cover that goes over it. And I'm used to this because the Soloist has the same thing, but the Soloist cover is not as deep as this one. And so this wedge clamp has to sit super far down, and you can't get a torque wrench down in there. So you kind of have to just wing it with whatever like right angle hex wrench that you have, like that you got from an IKEA build kit or something. If I had to take issue with one thing with the Cockpit, it's just that the drops feel kind of thin right here. It's just very skinny, especially with the stock bar tape that they had. This just feels very skinny in diameter. I'm not somebody that's really using the drops anyway, but I put this tape on just to have something a little bit thicker because this just feels very anemic. So that's just my quick thoughts on the Cervelo S5. I think the Cockpit is a huge improvement over just a standard round bar and stem, and I've really enjoyed riding it so far. It's very comfortable for what you would otherwise expect from an aero bike, and I'm really excited to get some more miles on it in the coming months. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Okay, that's it. That's it. We're going out to the road. Come on. Come on. Come on. Let's go. Come on.